Well, today I'm sharing how I set up my daily planner, and I do this really simply, really efficiently, and I really cheaply too. I use a college ruled notebook. So this is what I do. I do like my monthlies and my dailies and all kinds of things in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and write all of the days of the week. I'm going to just show you how I set up a week in my planner. I just pretty much repeat the same thing every week. And generally Sunday I sit down and write this out and kind of get some type of plan. I also do the weekly home blessing hour. This is like a Fly Lady system that I've adapted to work for me. It's like a physical space reset. I'll talk more on that in a moment. And we're just gonna continue on writing all of the days of the week here. So, oh goodness, I did not give myself enough of space with the pumpkins. We're gonna have to scooch them over. I am really loving the pumpkins. They are so cute. Fall is my favorite time of year, and I'm so happy that we have pumpkins coming in from the garden. They are the best. So we'll just continue on like this. And I know a lot of people have been leaving comments saying that they don't like that the ink, you can kind of see through it with these cheaper notebooks, but this is just like a budget friendly option. If you don't like that, you can always buy more expensive paper or things like that. I'm actually looking into that, and I'm going to be trialing a few different notebooks to see what I can find, if I can find something that might work a little better, because I understand that, you know, doing videos, it may not come across as well, but I have to do everything on a budget. So right now, this is where we're at. But I do things a little bit different, actually quite a bit different than what I've seen most people do. I used to put all of my appointments and important things like that on my calendar in my monthlies. I already did that video. I used to do that, and I figured out very quickly that that did not work for me. So I have started creating little sections in this top area of my notebook. So on this side, this is where I kind of do like a month at a glance, and I write like appointments and important things that I need to remember, like birthdays, anniversaries, even like shows that we want to watch. I write all of that here, and I also have like a schedule that I kind of follow just to help me remember all of the things that I need to do. So for example, on the 2nd, that's the day I designate to pay all of the bills. And then on the 3rd, I like to put our orders in. This is like online orders. I try and do like one big Amazon order if needed a month. This month, luckily, we may not need to do anything, so that would be great. Just save the money instead. But I try and do that to save on shipping, and that way we're only buying things that we really need. And you know, you're making sure they're things that you need, and it's not like impulse buys or anything like that. And then also on the 5th, so like every Thursday is the day that we need to make sure all of the trash is out. And I also write on here to reschedule. And I do this because this helps me on Sunday. So like I'll usually mark this off as we go through the week. And on Sunday, whenever I'm redoing my next week, this won't be marked off, and that will remind me to add it on to the following week. So that's just something that I've done that has worked an awful lot for me. Another thing that I do is on the 6th, that's the day that I take my measurements. I am trying to do better about an exercise program and stuff like that, but it is really hard. I'm super busy in the summertime because my hobby is gardening, and that takes up a lot of time for me. So one of the things on top of everything else, you know, that you have going on in the garden, I do fertilizer. So I also make this homemade, and I do this every 2 weeks. So I have, like I said, I'm very scheduled here. And I think I spelled that wrong. Why do I always spell this wrong? I don't know. I get to talking and I can never spell this word. Okay, so I know how to spell this word. I promise. Okay, but anyways, I do this every 2 weeks. So I'll do it on the 14th, and then whenever I finish that one, I'll just add it on, because this will be like weeks and weeks later. I'll add it on to the end, so that would be like what, the 29th or 30th. I'm not like 100% has to be 2 weeks, but a few days here and there is no big deal. But that's what I do with that, and that helps remind me. Another thing that I do is I make my own homemade vinegar. I love this. I use certain herbs that I grow in the garden to make it smell a whole lot better. It's my favorite. I use it in the laundry and cleaning and all kinds of different, with cleaning and all kinds of different things. So I really like that, and it's really easy to make. I know it kind of takes a little bit of time, but the hands-on process is really not that long, and it's kind of like a little fun little project that I enjoy doing. So I also do that. I have videos also, I don't know if I said that, on how I do my fertilizers. I actually do a couple different fertilizers. One of them's more like a foliar feed, and the other is just like a normal fertilizer. And then I also have a video on how I do our homemade vinegar as well. Okay, and then the last thing I do is on the last day of the month, I do the review and reflection. And I just kind of make sure I get all of my totals, like for my trackers and everything like that, added into my monthly. And also I just kind of generally write down, you know, what if I forgot to write anything, or just things that come up of like just like a monthly review, the good, the bad, you know, all that stuff. I generally try and keep up on that more than once a month, but sometimes life gets crazy and it doesn't work that way. But these are like my main things, and of course I have birthdays and appointments and those things. And another good thing about doing it this way, like I reset this up every week, is like if appointments or things like that come up for the following week, I can just add them in here. So that has been working great for me. So this is like my little month at a glance. And on the top side over here, this is where I do kind of like my week at a glance, and I kind of break it up into little sections. So the first thing is kind of like my home things I need to do. I always need to make bread flour, so I do that a couple times a month because we go through it so fast. I also like to make a big batch of homemade English muffins, and these freeze really, really well. So I'm going to add those into the freezer, the extras. And another thing I do is I make a really big batch of biscuits. These are our Southern Fluffy biscuits. I have a video on these, and these are super good, and they are super good frozen as well. So like after I bake them, I will let them cool, put them in the freezer in a single layer and freeze them, and then bag them up, and I can just pull them out and let them thaw. And what I do is I usually heat them up for just a few minutes in the oven just to get them warm, and they are great. So they're not, I mean, is a minuscule difference in freezing them and having them fresh. So it's like not enough to really warrant as much trouble. It's really not a lot of trouble, but you got to have the time to make it. It takes a little bit of time. So that's something I do there. Another thing I usually always do is do a batch of mashed taters. I freeze this too. I make like a big batch of it and freeze the excess, and the key to this is lots of fat. I have tried this before and I was not happy with the end result, but if you put lots of fat in there, like butter and cream and all those things, that helps it tremendously. And it's really wild. It like all comes together at the very end and thickens up, and I don't know how it works, but it works and it comes out great. So that's the way I do that, just so I have like some easy side conveniences in the freezer, just to make nights easier and dinners easier. So I like to do that. Other things I wanted to be sure and do is try a new recipe. I had a goal, like my 101 goals of the year. One of the things were to do a new recipe every week, and I was doing great and like way ahead of schedule, and then it was like gardening season, and then life got crazy on top of that. So now I am like every week doing a new recipe, but I would like to keep that train going and not mess up on that goal and actually achieve it. So I'm going to try and be sure and do at least one new recipe this week. So that will get added on to the next week at a glance as well. So other things I need to remember, I actually don't have a ton of things going on. Hopefully life will get a little bit settled down just a little bit. That will be so nice. But the main thing I need to remember to do is to preserve. I have got lots of produce coming in from the garden, plus I've got things in the freezer. I had some health things come up and I was not able to get them going, so I just threw the things in the freezer to be dealt with later, and I hope I can get to that. And other things I need to remember to do, we are going through a drought. We actually did get a little bit of rain, not much, not nearly as much as we needed, but I also need to remember to water the garden since we're going through that. I also need to weed, which that is not my favorite project. That's probably like the thing I dislike the most about gardening is weeding. And we had got this ground cover to try and help, and it has been great, but we're starting to have issues with rodents, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. We have been really, really good. We had planted like mint all around our house to help with the rodents, and we had done so good for years and years, and we did this ground cover, and now we're starting to have issues. So I don't know if it's just the year or what, but I'm kind of unsure. I may be not doing the ground cover. I'm trying and experimenting and going back to what I used to do. I used to do a lot of like cardboard and laying that down, so I'm gonna try that. I'm doing an experiment for my fall garden right now and we'll see what I end up going with for next year, but that's the way it is. I'm always experimenting and trying new things. We're always learning, and there's things that come up, and each year is different. So another thing I need to remember to do is to harvest, especially the okra. I have to keep on that because they get super, super big. Okay, so that's kind of what I do. I've got like my month at a glance, my week at a glance, and then I do my dailies. So but whenever I'm moving on to my dailies, just so I don't have to like remember all of this every single day, what I do for the week is I go through and I see what needs to be done on what specific day. Okay, so like these are like the specific, this is kind of like part of my schedule, like if I had appointments, whatever, like paying bills and stuff, most of that could be flexible if need be, but like appointments most of the time aren't. But what I do is I just go through here and I write the things that I need to do. So on the 2nd, I need to pay the bills. On the 3rd, I need to get the orders in, and then also on the 5th, we need to take the trash out and reschedule. I also write it here too, because at the end of like Sunday, you'll see in my weekly home blessing hour, I go through and I write like the task that I didn't get done. Let's see if I can spell it right. I think we can. Yay! And then on Friday, that is the day that I do my measurements. Okay, so that's kind of like the things that we have going on this week. And then I look at my week at a glance here, and I don't want to like pile everything on myself all on one day. So what I do is I kind of go through and make it to where I don't have as much to do each day. So Sunday's a really big day for me. That's the day that I do my weekly home blessing hour. So I'm not going to put some of these other tasks on there. What I'm going to do is start that on Monday. So like for Monday, we're going to do the bread flour. And it's really easy to make. It just takes a little bit of time, but I really like to keep on top of it, so it doesn't take that much longer whenever I get to my recipe and be like, oh no, I gotta make bread flour now too on top of this. So I'd like to do that, and then the next thing, I think the next day we'll do English muffins, and usually whenever I make this, we will have that for dinner. So like we'll have like breakfast sandwiches for dinner, and then on Wednesday, I think we'll move the biscuits here, and we'll make that, and again, like I said, that's what we'll end up having for dinner as a side. Let's see. On Thursday, we'll do the mashed taters. We'll make a big batch of that. I really like just making several big batches of this. So like what I do is my family doesn't like the peel, so I like peel everything and get it going in the pot in the boiling water and everything. And while that is boiling, I'm like peeling another batch, and I just let it sit in water and peel another batch and have it ready. And it's almost like an assembly line. I just go and make several batches of it, and I can put it in the freezer, and it's great. It's so nice to have that as a convenient side dish there. Let's see. And I think on Friday, that is the day we will try some type of new recipe. That sounds fun. Okay, and I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's everything I had here. So now we're gonna look at this day, Sunday. Usually I do my harvest on like Friday or Saturday, so Sunday is a good day to preserve. It's either gonna end up being Saturday or Sunday. Sometimes Sundays are so busy, this is like all I can get to, and I am like having to either stay up super late to get everything done or put a lot of it on to Monday. So it just depends. I have to kind of look at my schedule and see how much I need to do and what days will be best. So this isn't like set in stone. I am not perfect. Things get moved around based upon life or things that happen. So this is just like trying to keep me on schedule, because if I didn't do this, I would see this on Monday with all these things and think I needed to do all this on Monday, and I would probably try and do all of this on Monday and then just be completely wiped out. So I try and do this to help me. Other things, let's see. I think I'm just gonna put down on Monday to like do these other things. They do not always happen. We may get rain. And speaking of that, someone was asking me if I tracked the rain. In the summertime, we do not get an awful lot of rain. But what I do is whenever we actually do get rain, I put however much it was, and I usually circle it like right here. That way I can kind of flip back quickly and see when the last time it was that we got rain. That way I can kind of keep track of when I need to water the garden. Also, I kind of circle it too on the days that I do water the garden. That way I can go back and be like, okay, it was like 2 or 3 days ago how whenever I watered, and also I need to factor in how hot it's been. We had a heat index of 119 the other day. Oh my goodness, that day was so hot. But anyway, so that's what I do there. And then I'll also put on here to weed and harvest. Now, I will be honest with you, I put weed on there a lot and I do not do it. It is not my favorite chore, but I just put it on there. Some days I do get to it. I actually did a week or so ago. My hand's still a little upset because the weeds got me, but I try and get to it, but like I said, it is not my favorite thing. So we'll go ahead on Saturday and put harvest on here too. I think I think that's all we're gonna do here is to do the harvest. Okay, so there we go. So that's kind of just it's almost like a reminder more than anything. And like I said, if it doesn't happen or isn't needed, like we may have got rain here and I didn't need to do that, or rain the day before, so it may not be needed, but I just kind of put it there to just kind of help me remember, because my brain likes to forget things, and it's kind of one of those out of sight, out of mind things. I need constant reminders. So that's what I do there. So next up, I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just kind of generalize. I kind of keep this pretty fast. Oh, also, I was saying on Sunday I do the weekly home blessing hour, so I need to put that there too. So I'll go over that in just a moment. But the main thing I do here after this is I kind of do like my morning routine. I also leave me space in between because, you know, life things always pop up. So I'm gonna leave space for that. So morning routine, afternoon routine, I always write dinners, and then I do the evening routine. So that's what I do there. We're going to look at our weekly home blessing hour, and like I was saying before, the main thing this is like a physical space reset. So the first thing I do is dust, and then I wash all of the bedding and the throws in the living room. And then I clean the bar and the TV. That's all in the living room too. So I kind of go room for room. And I also water all of my plants if they need it. We have to check the soil and make sure that they need it. And I have found that my plants love rainwater. So if y'all can manage to do that, I have like rain catchment systems outside, and they are super happy with that. So they have been loving that, and they have grown so much. So I highly suggest that. I also try and do that with my garden too. I do not like using city water we have like really bad chlorine in our water. So I try really hard to use the rainwater or filtered water if I water them. And then also, so usually I'm about done in the living room and stuff in here, and then I move on to the kitchen where I wash the dish drainer and I change out the towels. I usually have to do this more than once a week, but since I'm washing the dishwasher, get everything all nice and fresh. I also make my shine juice. This is the best cleaner. I have a video showing how I make that, and I even use my vinegar with it, and it is super great. It is the best window cleaner I have ever used. I am so glad I figured out this recipe. I also make another cleaner. I need to make a video on this too, and I'm actually have learned how to make other things with it, so it is really awesome. So I need, because it's not such a bad thing that I waited, because now I can share even more. But I also make that. Then I move on to the bathroom and add toilet paper. I need to refill all of like the bottles and also the soap. So I'm going to write soap here. We use bar soap, so I need to do that. Then I vacuum the house, and since we're in the South, we are definitely running the air conditioner, and I need to clean all the air conditioner filters. And then I mop. And then also, I know this kind of isn't like a physical space reset, but while this is going on, I should move this to the top, but I don't. I guess I know it's here. Creature of habit here. But what I do while all of this is going on, I update my computer and other updates too that it has. So Flatpak will update all that. And that's what I have going in the background while I'm doing this, because sometimes it's a lot. Like, I have bad days and I can't do all of this at once, and I have to sit down and rest and stuff, so I can get all of this going and constantly keep at it, so changing it up, all the different updates. Okay, so after that, I usually at the end of the day, after all of this has been completed, hopefully, I like to do this other reset. This is where I like sit down and do more planning type things. This is where I write down like the recipes we'd like to have, and hopefully incorporate that new recipe in there. Make sure we have a grocery list, or make sure we have all of the groceries that we need for the week. If it's like a really tough month and you know you can't go get groceries, you kind of just look in your pantry and see what you can make with what you have. Sometimes you have to be creative, but like I said, you know, sometimes you're lucky and able to do that and sometimes not, but if you can, it's really, really nice to be able to do that. And then also shop. Sometimes you can do like grocery pickup orders. I have not done that in a long time. I kind of got burned on it, so I have not done that for a very long time, but that works out great for a lot of people. Also, I like to move the files to the hard drive. This is kind of like just like a catch up on everything, get everything done day. So I do all of that and move all like the YouTube files and things like that. Also move tasks. So like I was showing before, like here with the reschedule with the trash out, and where was it? Yeah, to reschedule here with the trash here, I don't cross those out. So whenever I go through the previous week and see things that I didn't get done, like, or that didn't get crossed off, which would be the reschedule, I know to add those on to the following week. And let's see, so I like to make sure all of my emails are sorted. Like, I've got back to all the emails. Sometimes I think I did something and I did not, so I need to double check that. And I also try and have an idea for the videos for the week. Doesn't always go this way. Sometimes we have to change things up, but it's nice to have some type of plan. And then also I have a few reoccurring tasks that I need to write down. I have yet to figure out how to make this easier. So I'm still just doing it this way for now. But let's see, I'm going to show you here in just a minute what I've done to make it a little bit more efficient with like my morning routines. So I'm going to go ahead and write it here, and then I'm going to show you how I have done this to make this even more efficient for me. Sorry, I was trying to figure out where I should be. I might have still did that wrong. I like it to be in line. One of the negatives of the spiral notebooks is it's a little off kilter on the other side, but it's okay. I mean, for 50 cents, you can't beat it. So I don't know if I said that before, but I use the cheap 50-cent notebooks at Walmart. They work super great. So what I do, so I'm going to draw, I'm basically making a little column or checkbox. And what I do is I got tired. Well, first off, I was really struggling with my morning routine because I have a lot of things I need to remember. And I got tired of having to write every single thing every day. So I came up with this system of this little flip out, and that way I can just do check marks on whatever it is that I'm doing. So that's what I do there. So on this side, that's what I do. But whenever I get to say Tuesday, I don't have this little area here. So for Tuesday, what I do is I make a little check box and I can just do this and remember. It's kind of like the whole dry erase board thing. The thing I never liked about that is you have nothing to look back on to see like, oh, I fell off here, you know, I don't know. You don't have that time frame. Whereas if I am doing my check mark here, I kind of have like a time frame and you can kind of see, well, you know, life was crazy or I was really sick or whatever it is going on. So I like doing that a lot better than the dry erase markers. Plus, I don't know why, but dry erase markers just don't like me anyway. So this is what I have found that works great. I have just been doing my morning routine because my afternoon routine's like pretty much set in stone. This is where I like make bread if I need to. I set out any meat for dinner if I need to do that. And I mean, just kind of simple things, reboot the laundry, like swap the loads or put the laundry in the dryer, all those types of things. That's kind of what I do there. And same for the evening routine. I'm pretty good with it, you know, just shower, fold the laundry, dishes, all those things. So, but this has been working great. And to me, it is like super, super efficient comparatively to what I was doing. And like I said, I don't like doing the dry erase markers very much. So I like this a whole lot better. So this has really, really been working well for me. Oh, another thing, I also put my exercise routine, well, I should have on here. I was struggling with it and I'm trying to get back on a better schedule. I'm not 100% sure if I am good on that yet or not, but I'm just going to leave it blank until I make sure that that is something I can stick to. That's kind of the negative to like writing it down on ink. You kind of feel like if things change, especially with this, I'll like, it's kind of like a tedious thing to rip that out and redo that. So I'm kind of like waiting till I have the exact right thing before I write that down. But it's okay. We'll get it all sorted and hopefully get it all figured out. How about y'all? How often do you exercise? I'm like trying to do my exercise to where it's at least 3 times a week, but I do like stretching and other exercises that work great for me other days, and possibly even those days I'm kind of on the fence as to what I like better. I can't do too much because I don't want to overdo it. I'm really good about that, especially with having the garden and stuff, and like, I don't know, my knees and my back. I'm getting older and it's not fun. Okay, and there's definitely benefits to getting older, but there's also things that are not so great about it. Okay, so we'll finish this up and let's see. So we need to do the little check boxes for here, and then we'll have this part all done. And I'll go ahead and show too, like give you an idea of what I do. So like what I sometimes do is I will move these over, but sometimes I'll just have like really big projects that it's like, hey, you have got to get this done. So I'll just write it like really big up here so I remember that I need to do it. But like for example of this, like what I would do like for the following Sunday, if nothing else come up, I would do like 9/14, I would do my fertilizer and reschedule. And then let's see, we had the 16th is the vinegar, and what I do is whenever I make it, I just go ahead and start a whole nother batch. It just works out great for me that way. I make a big batch all at once and then I start another batch because I use a lot of that with my fertilizer because it does not smell good and I have to soak in a lot of vinegar to get the smell off. So I use a lot of that in the summertime. And then I'll add this here too, the review and reflection. And also another thing that is great is like after you get like, this is basically like halfway through the month, you can start putting in all the things for the following month. So gosh, it's crazy to think that that's going to be October. Oh my goodness, this year is going by. But you can like put all your appointments and things like that you have going on in October. I don't know about y'all, but there's always something that seems to come up. So we can just add it on there, and it just kind of helps to have everything all together. And the good thing about having a schedule with most of these things is I know like on this certain day that's going to happen. So that helps me a lot with remembering things. And then I don't know what I'll have hopefully we'll have all of this done. I pretty much always will have my gardening things, or I may have like a big project that I need to get done or something like that. But this is what has worked good for me. And also another thing you can do too is if you have a really big project or multiple big projects, you can just write like whatever the project is and like break it up into smaller steps over here, and then add a little bit to each day, just that way to help it not be quite so overwhelming. But this is basically how I set up my dailies. To me, it's simple and efficient, and it just works great. I also have other videos where I show my monthly planner video that I did before this. I will also have videos showing all of like our meal ideas, because I like to try new recipes. So we'll have that, and then I also will have a video where I show my garden planting calendar. I do this using the moon phases and the astrological signs, and I will have that out for September as well. But I think that's everything that I had here. Hopefully I remembered everything and explained everything, and this was helpful to someone. Thank y'all all so much for spending time with me today. Thank y'all again for liking and commenting and subscribing. It means so much to us. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye!